Hello, welcome in everyone. So today I thought I would give a quick cleanse with the selenite wand just to clear the energy. So welcome in. Today we'll be doing a reading in regards to a check-in, a half-year check-in you could say. I really got the idea of all of us coming up to, well, if you follow the tropical zodiac, Western zodiac, we're coming up to a retrograde for Saturn, and that's in Pisces, which is a good time to like reflect on what we've been through, how we've changed, what's changing, that kind of thing. So that's the energy. Also, it's halfway through the year, so why not have a look at how things are going? Take this as more information rather than anything to compare or judge. There's no criticism here or anything like that ever with any of these readings. This is more of a time to just check in with ourselves, maybe our own feelings about how we've transitioned. Sometimes we feel like we're not getting anywhere, but when we stop and look at where we've come from, we can see the progress and the changes that we've made already in such a short time. And maybe it's how we view things, how we look at the world events that are occurring. How we avoid kind of like looking at the news sometimes, which can be helpful, especially with connecting with what's actually going on in our reality. So with that, we'll get some cards. There's going to be a lot of oracle cards. I've selected, cards that I felt intuitively and really wanted to bring in all the cards that came through, and there was quite a lot of oracle cards today. Alright, so we're going to be going back to the Crystal Mandala Oracle cards. This is by Alana Fairchild. This one just came with the cards only. Sometimes that's a nice thing. Like, the books are absolutely amazing to get ideas and the flow of creative, intuitive energy flowing. However, when there's no card or no book, in this case there was no book included, you really can only go by your intuition and what's on the cards, and that helps you develop as well as a reader and also as a viewer, because you'll be taking part in this as well as you see the cards. You might get a slightly different flavor for your particular situation, as these are general, as not, it's not individual readings. There will always be a little extra flavor which you can kind of taste, I guess. Okay, so let's have a look at each pile. I did a longer than usual meditation, so I'm still kind of floating around in the astral. Okay. All right, let's take a look at these three piles today. So if we go for pile number 1, you have chosen the Angel Bath Cole and Aquamarine with Authentic Voice. Here is your card. This is also Crystal Angels 444. If you're choosing pile 2, you'll be taking Goddess Wang Mu and the Stromatolite with a rare success. Here is your crystal card. This is Crystal Goddess 888. Right, and pile 3, you'll be choosing the Angel Lahabiel with the Black Tourmaline with Purification. Crystal card 444. Alright, here are your 3 piles for today. Tap into your intuition and pick whichever one, or if you have multiple piles, pick whichever ones are really calling out to you. I'll give you some time down in the description below. You can jump straight to your video. There'll be timestamps with each card and a time to where the video will start on your reading. Otherwise, I'll see you in your message. Hello, welcome to your reading pile number 1. So this is your midpoint or mid-year review. This could be just a general message. Take it however it comes through and however you feel it relates to your situation and whatever you want to do from now moving forward. We've chosen Angel Bethkol. So Bethkol means daughter voice. It also can be translated as heavenly voice. It's really about authenticity. It literally says here authentic voice. That's very true. Maybe a time to look at how you've started to step into truth. This could also kind of feel like going through an awakening of some sort, like starting to wake up and realize, oh, why am I doing all these things that don't feel right, but I'm told are, that kind of thing. So maybe you've started to do that this year. And if it is an awakening year, congratulations. It's not the easiest path, but I guess it had to happen sometime, right? So here we go. And when I say awakening, I feel like we go through multiple, or there's certain parts that we start to overcome. And it's not like we're fully enlightened and we're floating around on a fluffy white cloud. It's more like we just start to understand the purpose behind why this is important, why these things happen, why did I go through these horrible events, that kind of thing. And I think this is coming through with now it's time to continue forward with that or start embracing this truth. Okay, let's grab some cards. They're a really pretty card. I'm kind of glad I got these cards now because all the rest are quite light. I mean, my cards are pretty mixed. And I guess those ones are too, but just this blue one, and the backing all very blue. I truly didn't pick just blue cards because of my name. I just kind of came across them and was like, oh, animals. And this just happened to have a blue back. This one, Water Temple, probably was going to be blue, right? This is the Divine Tarot. Again, didn't pick it. Got it gifted recently, so thank you to Frot for that. And it's got a blue background. It's just that cool, calm, collected feeling. Okay. I think we can fit 2 in here if I squish them up on the camera. There's one back here that really wanted to come through. Oh yeah, that works. I feel like no matter where we are in life, we've come far, right? At some point, sometimes more progressive than others, but sometimes you want to relax and take a break at certain points. You don't want it to be movement, go, because then you don't really get to celebrate the successes. You don't get to really feel out how you felt about certain challenges and that kind of thing. So this is the moment, and I feel with Saturn going into reverse, it's not about clearing and working, right? It's about reflecting and potentially clearing, but more like it in a way of what am I holding on to? What do I need to let go of? That kind of thing. The song is very hype. Oh, it's called Good Vibes. Okay. I was like, this is really loud and hype. What is the song? It's called Good Vibes. I listened to Chill Out 2024 24/7 live radio. It's just funny. For your readings, good vibes. This does feel good. Honestly, reflection doesn't have to be a judgmental time. Even the judgment card doesn't have to be a judgmental time. I feel like I want another one, so I'm going to grab one. We'll try that. These are linen, which is really nice. They're really nice cards. Okay, so let's take a look at your reading. Yeah, okay. You have the Phoenix and Asclepius's Rod. Asclepius's Rod, very in line with healing and growth, healing through challenges, healing over time, that kind of thing. And Phoenix, Death and Rebirth. You can see that old here is being broken down, and I guess the source of what made this tower a solid force is shifting, and the energy is being releasing. It's being reborn into this Phoenix. So it says rebirth, transformation, and heal. Okay. So you may have been through quite a lot. Maybe it's not just this year, it could have been like over a lot of time. And when we go through many different challenging things, even if it's way back in childhood, we may not have dealt with it or left it, or, you know, until we get older. We might be in our 40s or 50s before we start to deal with some stuff that's occurred in childhood or whatever. Whether it's like a word, whether it's like actions that have occurred, you know, whatever it is. It's not about looking back and criticizing, judging, or like sending negative energy in there. It's more like to recognize what it has happened. Can't change it, right? Nothing can be changed, but we can change how it impacts us now, today. And I feel like either you've done a huge amount of work, or you're still in the process of that. Either way, it's coming to light. You've shone a light on it, and now it's being worked, which is great in the sense of it gives you back your power instead of giving the power away. So that's huge. Anyway, I'll try not to read too much into it already, but this coming through is just a powerful symbol. So you've got appreciation, quiet admiration, and deep respect. I like that they're sitting kind of like in their shadows, almost. Like, I know it's like a tar pit, but it's kind of like, you know, you can find the silver lining in the challenge. You can find the growth from it. Doesn't mean you have to explain it away or accept it or any. Well, I mean, we do have to accept it in some point what's occurred, because what's occurred has occurred. But anyway, at this point, it's kind of like, it's kind of like more of a calm time. I think if you had a challenging or like a lot of shake up in the first 6 months, now it's time to kind of, it's going to be a more relaxing time, let's say. So that can be a sigh of relief. And it's also, I do feel like with the Saturn going into retrograde, it's not too much of like a having to force something. I think if you try to force something through or to release something, I don't know, it just doesn't feel like it's going to work as well. It's best to do that, still do that, but do it in a more calm, peaceful way. Because the big kind of tower stuff has already been, the challenging stuff is already kind of like past. This is the fluid, the motion, the liquid. Because you can see here, birth from liquid, they're in liquid as well. Okay, got the full moon. We just finished a full moon recently. If you're watching this in the future, you know, wherever that is. And I said here, you know, not to release, but I was really speaking to not just like force any release. Like, you know, this isn't of like work. This is about like sitting in there and realizing what's in this liquid that I can keep, what is in this liquid that I can release. That's basically, it's like kind of like more sorting, a sorting time, dusting, cleansing. Anyway, we got full moon with culmination, release, and illumination. Yeah, you've shone a light on this. But this is giving you all your power back through your own hard work, through your own determination. You may have had help as well, but you can get all the help in the world. If you're not ready to let go of something, you're not ready to let go of something. No one can do it for you, right? You have to do it for yourself. It's just like vice versa. You can't help. Like, you can assist someone and support someone, but at the end, they have to be the one that drinks the water. You can't, you know, if they're the horse being led to water, right? You can't force it to drink. You can't just like smash its head into it, just starts drinking. They have to want to drink the water. They have to want to help themselves. You have to want to help yourself. Interesting Pisces coming through. Again, talking about the retrograde in Saturn. This is in Pisces. Psychic, intuitive, and dreamy. Yeah, I think you've gone through some kind of like awakening process for sure. You know, Pisces in its more positive form is around getting, I mean, there's many things, but like that dreamy side, that intuitive side, that connecting back with who you truly are, your energy of source, your energy of spirituality, that kind of thing. You know, and on the flip side, it can be taking on a lot of energy of other people toxic negative energy, whatever that is. Even if it's not toxic energy, it's just like, you know, when you go into a group of people, it's just too much energy. None of it's necessarily good or bad. It's just too much. It's like too much. It's like if you eat too much chocolate, chocolate's not, unless you're allergic to it, right? But chocolate's not generally that bad. But if you're eating like blocks and blocks of it, you're probably gonna get sick. So it's like this is potentially taking on too much. Could also be like talking about medication and you know, what you're reliant on. And you can be reliant on anything, legal or illegal, right? It's just sometimes is with Pisces. So it could be a big reflection on that, deepening of that. Okay. So you've got resilience, absolutely. Like I said, been through the challenges. That doesn't mean that it has to control what happens next. You decide that. This is all in your hands. Whatever you have kind of gone through this year, it's been a way to activate your, I would say heart, but it's you know, it's talking about voice, but I'm thinking of like your soul activation. So that's why it feels still enlightenment style. But it says my spirit endures. Your spirit will absolutely endure. Just like the body, the mind, all that can kind of shift and eventually will fade, right? But the soul never ever ends. Period. Like Tara bringing a time of like peace, I feel. Right next to the appreciation, I feel like it's a time of peace. This is like gratitude as well. Like it says here, deep respect. Beautiful. I like this for you. Got Saraswati's temple. Knowledge. She is like this energy of learning and information and gifts, it feels. I open my heart and mind. Yeah, I feel like the challenging things we go through helps us have compassion, right? If we are someone who's had it kind of like easy or something like that, you know, through childhood, that kind of thing. And I wouldn't say easy because you're still a human, right? There's nothing easy about it. But if like things are flowing, and then you get to a point where you get diagnosed with an illness, let's say, you start to be far more compassionate about other people that have gone through those kind of things. You might have seen it, but just realize, oh, that'll never happen to me, or that's not going to happen to me, that kind of thing. And then it happens, also happens to someone in your family. You really start to feel like, what can I do? What is being done? You know, start researching it, start getting in touch with it, and being like, okay, so how can I help? That kind of thing. It opens up an opportunity to be more loving, compassionate, that kind of thing. It's kind of a sad way of how it has to happen, but let's be real. So many different things pop up in our life that we're just completely like, you know, unaware of, like these tower kind of like situations, but they are opportunities for death and rebirth. So I like that she's coming through with like, you know, going through these lessons in life, learn from them, gain the knowledge from them, so you don't have to repeat them in some form. Okay. You also have Jabiru. I'm not sure this animal, never heard of it, but it looks kind of like a stork of some sort. Almost like I'm not sure, like a heron stork. Anyway, it has foundations, starting to build from the ground up. Same here, with death and rebirth, we're starting from the ground up. We're not starting all over again in our life. We might think that if we've gone through like a divorce or like moved countries, right? But we haven't lost all our knowledge, and our brain hasn't fallen out. We've taken all that knowledge, that information, that good learning as well, and we're starting to build anew. And so like this card coming through is really like, this is your opportunity to speak into truth what you want for the rest of the month. And you know, even if it's just in the conceptualizing stage, what does that look like? How do I feel about what's occurred, and how do I feel now? There can be mixed feelings, right? Especially if it's a breakup. We can have a sense of relief, freedom, and also sadness and disappointment, anger, all that. It's not about judging it, it's just about knowing why and where and how it's making us feel, how it's impacting our now. Got starfish with sensitivity. Yeah, you've woken up. there's no way you're getting these cards coming through. The Starfish with sensitivity. I don't know if it's like necessarily talking about spiritual, but it just feels very spiritual. And even here, they're like similar colors, right? It's like this throat, crown, third eye kind of like higher chakra kind of energies coming through. And the sensitivity right next to the knowledge. And same with Starfish, right? They can have a limb cut off and then respawn it. We can't do that. However, sometimes we can feel that when challenges occur, or we lose someone, or we finalize a friendship, relationship, etc. Can feel like that's a limb, but you grow, you keep continuing and keep growing. It's not over until, it's not even over when it's over, right? But it's over when this incarnation's over, when we're passing or we're finished with it. So you're not finished until you're finished. But I feel like it's also opened up opportunities for new pathways of knowledge, new ways of thinking outside of the strictness of your own mind. This is opportunity to grow. And again, kind of death and rebirth, cutting off a limb, rebirth. Getting that very, very, very clear power one. Got the Devil card too. Interesting, it's the snake. Do you know what this reminds me of? This reminds me of... I'll have to have a look in the book because this is a new deck, but this deck's really fun. It's got like myths, fairy tales, legends, that kind of thing, and they've kind of put them into traditional Rider-Waite-Smith style. But this is a Devil card. Devil card has its own like chains and whips and those kind of things, right? But it's like breaking away, and sometimes we break away from one thing just to trap ourselves in another. I have a card in my deck that I've created that's kind of like that. It's like I want to get out of this structured organization, which was like army, and then I went to a structured organization, which is different, but now it's like the church, so it's still like rigid, and I'm not seeing that. This is like making sure you're seeing exactly very clear. You're not burning bridges or burning down the path exactly, you're just clearing. Like you're using fire as more of like a cleansing rather than a wildfire destruction, right? But this reminds me of Boitata, which is a snake in, I think it's like Brazilian mythology, kind of protects the rainforest and that kind of thing, which is definitely appropriate for now. He kind of came through to me in a vision one time when I wasn't even meditating, I just saw it in the house. And I was like, why is this big red snake in the house? Like, you know, not real, because I was like, this better not be real, because it's like, it was massive. And I just saw parts of its body, and then I went and Googled online of like big red fire snake. I was like, that's it. So sometimes that's how I used to see things. Doesn't happen so often now, which I'm going to be honest is quite good. I don't want to see too much stuff that's happening in like with my actual eyes. I don't mind if it's like in my third eye, but now I've got a better grasp of it. But we'll have a look at the Devil card in this one. So let's see. Oh, it is. It actually is Boitata. Okay, interesting. I'm going to read this one too. It says here, Devil gives into the ego, lusting for unnecessary or harmful things, unwilling to leave negative situations. Like this is what it's all about. You're here to build resilience and learning from what's occurred rather than walls and, you know, over structure, over like protectiveness. It's good to protect yourself, but there's a point where it turns into isolation, right? You don't need to have like a safe room within a safe house within a safe room within a safe, you know, it gets a bit too much. It says here, it is a dragon sitting upon a pile of gold it does not need, a person setting a forest on fire for his own gain. So upright it says greed, controversy, violence, strange experiences, and addiction. Yeah, that's really, really interesting with this. And also even here with reverse, it talks about release and enlightenment. I feel like that's part of this. There's like two sides to this devil in that situation, in that case. Okay. You also have the King of Wands. I don't know this story, but I didn't, do you know what? I don't know why, but I saw this as like her head, her hands together, like, you know, how she'd be diving into a pool and kind of like her body. even though it's very contorted. I know it's now a bird and a peacock, kind of like feathers. Okay, 1, 2 things, 3 things, 4 things. There's a lot here that is coming through. Again, we're talking about more phoenix kind of energy, this fiery bird energy. Doesn't look like exactly like a phoenix, but this tail reminding me of like a peacock. Peacocks are very individual, right? They're very unique. You know a peacock when you see one because there's nothing else like it. There's no birds that are similar, unless we're talking about the peahen, very kind of plain compared to the peacock. That's just how, you know, they've kind of evolved in that sense of you know, who's the most prettiest, I guess, male. But anywho, there's also this kind of light. This is like your guiding light. It's not the thing that breaks you, it's the thing that inspires you. Going back to authentic voice, he has an authentic voice, he has an individuality. I have another deck where he's in a car and he's got like rainbow hair, he's got like you know, interesting clothing on, and he's just being authentically himself. He's not judging himself, he doesn't care what other people think, he's just being himself. Same with the Queen of Wands, very similar in that sense of understanding who you are and what makes you you. So really nice here. Also what we hold on to, and also what we know we need to release. Perfect cards to come through. What was I talking about? Structures. So you've got the Hierophant as well. Of course, there has to be also with this like medicine wheel. So it does feel like through healing you find, and through processing difficult situations, the past, all that kind of thing. Looking back, we can see how it's built. Good boundaries. I would say look at your boundaries. Be proud of them, especially if they're really, really healthy now compared to old ones like a year, 2 years, 3 years, 5 years, 10 years ago. All that kind of thing. Like, be really proud of yourself. You're stepping into this unique aspect of yourself, and it doesn't have to be like anyone else. It doesn't have to be different to anyone else. It just has to be you. You know, there could be 50 million people that also have this one aspect that you're going to let shine out. That's okay. There can be one person in the world that has it, or just 50 million. It doesn't really matter. It's really like what's right for you. It doesn't matter about who has what and what else, whatever others are doing. It's build your own structures and foundations, and you know, lessons learned as well. This is also a teacher. Again, more healing energy as well. Like I said with the, I don't actually know if these are like medicine wheels, but in my head I'm seeing medicine wheel, which I feel like is very native, you know, certain tribes of America, Native Americans. They're also holding the peace pipe, right? So it's kind of like showing you a way to more fulfilling, more peaceful, more appreciative of the journey space. You might be coming into such a different space to where you were in the past. Like, this is probably the best kind of like message or reading you could hope for. Even if you feel like you look back and you're like, I haven't done much at all, that's exactly what you're supposed to do. I don't know, there's something here that is showing you've probably done more than you think. And this is about appreciating and respecting yourself. Like, when I say respecting yourself, I mean giving yourself, you know, credit where credit's due. You might be more open now as well, which can have its pluses and minuses, right? If you're more open, we'll get more energy, like feel more things, like empaths, right? Feeling more. Just have to learn with structure and boundaries of what you take on and what you don't. Don't have to take on everyone else's stuff. That's for them to deal with. You can assist, but you're not there to like save people, cure people, that kind of thing. Unless you are an actual doctor or whatever, you know what I mean? But not energetically. Energetically, you're here to assist and help people help themselves. That's the best thing you can do. It's like that saying, teach a man to fish, you know, feed him for a day. Oh no, what is it? Give a man a fish? That's it. Give a man a fish, feed him for a day. Teach a man to fish, feed him for a lifetime type thing. So that's definitely coming through with this one. Okay, so very interesting, lots of cards here. I don't know if we need any more to be like what we're talking about. I would say the overall learning here is this resilience and this knowledge. It's like learning and growing from the past. And you might be like, oh, I wish I did this earlier, or this kind of stuff. No, you did it all in divine timing. This was the right time to do it. You're in the right time now to move to where you want to be, or sit where you are and enjoy this like section of life. Things will be calming down anyway. And I feel like that's what retrogrades are. People stress about it because they want to go, go, go. They want to like run away. And there's a lot of certain planets in retrograde, I think. There's like Pluto and I think Pallas as well. Chiron might be also. Anyway, there's a lot of stuff. There's a lot of different planets that are in retrograde. And regardless of what they're doing, what do you want to do and what are you doing with this energy? That's really where it's at. Time to build, good solid foundations with this new, highly sensitive kind of intuitive self. Okay, I'm going to leave that there. Really good time for you. Well done for getting here with everything that's transpired in the past. But the past doesn't have to chain you up. It's an opportunity to freedom and to learn and to build new boundaries. All right, I'm going to leave you there. Thank you so much, Partner One. Take care of yourself, and I'll see you next time. Hello, hello. Welcome to your reading, part number 2. So we've chosen a goddess, Ziwang Mu. That's as best as I can probably pronounce her name. And Stromatolite, rare success. Really interesting. Such an intricate looking card, right? This beautiful tapestry of, well, not really a tapestry, but like the creation of this bracelet, I guess. Excuse me. Getting in trouble for pronouncing the name wrong, maybe. But like, it looks like jewelry, some kind of jewels. A lot of like different, I guess, delicate parts to it. That is how it's been created. Anywho, this is rare success. No idea how this is going to relate to your reading. All I know from her history, this goddess is like one of the most important goddess in kind of like the certain area in China, in Chinese history, having immortals as well. Her name, from what I've read, translates to Mother of the West. So a lot of interesting things and stuff popped up for her. There's like stories of a tree that blooms 3,000 years that has a peach that offers immortality. So there's a lot of stuff coming through from that. But that would be quite rare, something that blooms or grows only once every 3,000 years and has like a fruit of like the gods, I guess, is how it would translate. So interesting one there. We'll see how that comes through, but I'll grab some cards and we'll get into your reading. Lots of oracle cards today for your reading. Also, this is the only one that is a goddess. The other two were angels. Interesting angels too. But yeah, anyway. Okay. We'll grab that one since it flipped up. Might take these two as well. I might just pull them at the end. I knew something funny was happening because I was like, why am I shuffling so strange? There we go. So remember, this is your mid-year review. You can take it like a mid-year review. Just to check in with where you're going, how you're going. I say that very lightly. This isn't about judgment. There's zero judgment here. in any of the readings, and you shouldn't be judging yourself or anything else in these readings either. These are messages, and what you do with them is always your choice. It's never anyone else's choice. Readings shouldn't tell you what to do. They should inform you, and you should be able to decide what to do with that information. Grab 3 again, I feel. Yep. They're a bit curled. It's funny, this place that I get them from, for some reason, they're always a little bit curled. They'll settle down with time. They're just the new deck. The Tower of the Divine. Alright, so let's take a look at your reading. You've got rare success already. You also have love. You can see this person here, this like Lady Shrek, I guess, is on this giant snake. It's an interesting one because they're up and above the clouds. So this is taking the high road, but it also feels like coming from a place of compassion. It's also very, like, this would be rare, right? Flying a snake above the clouds. So I feel like with rare, it's like some kind of thing has popped in that was unexpected. I'm not sure if it's like good or bad exactly, but regardless, it is what it is. And so what you use or do with that is up to you. That's kind of how it feels. Might have actually succeeded at something that you didn't expect was a reality at one point in your life. I know I've done that a few times. Certain things which people might think, well, of course you were going to like do that. Like, there was always a possibility. In my head, when I was like a teenager especially, certain things felt 100% impossible. And they weren't. Alright, so you've got the Abolitionist and Feather. Again, more in the sky kind of feeling. This goddess is like, it's almost like you're embodying what she would be seen as. Abolitionist and Feather. An abolitionist is someone who is like, I guess a lot of the time it's looked at in American history with like slavery. And so, you know, bringing voice to the voiceless, so to speak, or like why are we, you know, starting to question things that we just take for granted, or take, not take for granted, take as okay in society, in life, whatever. Just like, this is acceptable. It's kind of like, you know, going out and seeing homeless people and we just keep going on our day, right? We just kind of like, I don't know if we certainly see it as like acceptable, but we've accepted it as a part of our reality, right? That kind of thing is just, that's just how some people live. Anywho, the song about justice, individuality, and respect. Your individuality is definitely coming through here. If you're drawn to pile 1, they had parts of this energy as well, but you're getting it a lot and starting to like speak truth to it, starting to make your own decisions, not feel like decisions are being made for you based off other people's opinions, based off your old learnings from the past. This is a good time to show growth, show or remember the growth that you've already made. Alright, so you've got the waning gibbous moon with nurturing, patience, and refinement. This is really good. This could be like cutting, you know, some of the rust off the car. It doesn't mean the car is damaged or broken. It's just like getting rid of it and repairing in some sense. You've also got the 3rd quarter moon, so you've got a couple of moons coming through. This is breakdown, adjustment, forgiveness. I feel like with love and forgiveness, this is definitely taking the higher road, being compassionate. If you were always given like negative energy from someone, it's like, why should their negative energy make you give that back to them, kind of thing? Like, match it, right? We don't have to play in the dirt when we're up in the clouds. Why swoop down just to play in the mud? If that's how they are, that's how they are. We don't control how they feel, but we're going to be ourselves, truthfully and honestly. You got forgiveness again with the dog coming through. Ears look like hair almost, like, you know, a Maybelline ad. But interesting with this dog. It's kind of funny. It's kind of like a sassy face in a way. but it's kind of like, I guess I'll just take the high road type thing. It's kind of funny. I think it's cute. It's a nice one. It really is touching on, you're an individual, you're a unique individual here. You don't have to be like anyone else. You don't have to do anything like anyone else. Stuff that may have happened to you in the past. Remember, where this is like a big review kind of like time, or this message anyway. Doesn't mean the whole time is right, but this is like to look back and not hold on to grudges, hold on to things that just pull us down into the mud. We don't need to be there. This is not for you to roll in the mud today, or moving forward, this is for you to rise above it. Take your not weapons with you, but take your protection, have your own boundaries and that kind of thing, of course, but you don't need to play down here. I got the buffalo with gratitude too. This is a good time to like be grateful for what you have. Good grounding energy, forgiveness and gratitude. It's great for grounding. It's to get us out of our head and out of our like murkiness of like, yeah, but what about this person? They did this to me. This they have to pay, or that kind of thing. We're moving beyond that. You don't need to sit with that. It's not for you to decide. It's not for you to like, dish out punishment type thing, unless you really want to. But why play in the mud when you're in the sky? Like, there's so much more here. The sun's up here. We don't have to be in the dark and the shadows. That's kind of where this is coming from. You've got more love. So this could touch on family relationships. You've got Aphrodite and Aries, lovers. I follow my heart. And as you can see here, the scene's very like, this is a love card, which feels like, being where you need to be, like in like a more highest perspective. This feels like a very sensual, right? Because I don't know, they're enjoying each other's company, let's say. So yeah, I will leave that there. But it's an interesting one. This could be needing to move on from past loved ones, or whether they're still here or not, or like an ex or anything like that. It's not about forgiving what they've done. It's being able to choose to be in the now, live with purpose now, and move forward with knowing of what's occurred, but no longer reliving that past energy. Yeah, endings definitely is an end to this could be a relationship. Definitely could be a relationship that's finished, so you can allow in the new one you want. If you're like looking for a relationship but you're still pissed off about like the past one that happened 2 years ago, 5 months ago, 6 years ago, 20 years ago, it's not going to be fruitful exactly because there's stuff to work on, right? So if you've already worked on this, congratulations, well done. This is about patience and like really feeling that. It has to be from truth. It doesn't have to be like, oh God, I have to do this. I need to go force something. None of this is forced. This is all step by step. But it says here, I embrace the infinite flow of life. Death and rebirth, endings and beginnings are part of life. So you can see here, she's kind of like letting it go. It's gone into the water to cleanse. She's letting it go. Like I said, no longer playing in the dirt, playing in the mud, playing games. This is about, your unique self, I guess. Getting back in touch with what's really important to you, certain things that are important to you. I don't think if you wanted like revenge or anything like that, you'd be here listening to this reading anyway. But we all go back to like, damn this person for this and that and the other. And I'm going to be honest, recently an ex has been popping up in my head around certain things, and I've been like, oh yeah, I wish I did that differently with this. And it's like, doesn't matter, that's like long gone. It's like over 10 years ago. It doesn't like pull me all the way back, but it also is like a good reminder of like how far I've come. So I think that's part of your learning too, is like, remember how far you've come. Remember how much like better and brighter things are now, right now. So why pull that old dark shadow into this now when it's long gone? Okay, let's take a look at these cards. Got the Ace of Swords, starting to see things differently. Also cutting cords, right? It's like can look like a big tangled mess, but when we start to spread it out, we see it's a web. and we can start to use that as like a net, right? If it was in reality, we could start to use a net, or we can see how things link to what area, and you go down the path of releasing that. Okay. You also have the Wheel of Fortune. This is a great time for you. This was like, this rare success is a great time. Really making some big movements in how you think and feel. Because you could be known for the person that complains about the ex, right? Or something like that. This is just an example. Complains about the ex has always done that. It pops up all the time. It's like, oh, remember when this? Yeah, you got away with this and that. That kind of thing, you know, and it might completely change. That's just the mindset change of not focusing on the negative and starting to move forward with what's more important. Your life is more important than reliving the past. So this feels really, really nice. And you've got the Justice card, which is, again, an interesting one. Doing what's right. Like I said, you don't have to play in the mud. You can absolutely play in the mud and feel like you're getting justice by doing something negative, or, you know, that kind of thing, sending negative energy towards it. It's up to you. This is definitely up to you. This justice is about releasing this old energy. And like I said, it could become into like relationships, connections, family, that kind of thing, with these two love energies coming through. But it's getting back into like what's truly important to you. Should be you, really. Should be you, and living honestly, authentically, truthfully. I want to see what these two cards coming through. We'll just see if it's really in relation to, I think for some people watching this will be in relationship to love. It could even be in your mind of like, why can't I find like this next thing? I feel like you can go on this path of rebuilding, gratitude, forgiveness, all that kind of stuff from the past, so you can welcome in and clear space for the new if you're looking for this like you know, dynamic relationship. But it's hard to go into a dating pool when you're bringing in old themes, and then if someone triggers it by just even looking similar to an ex or something like that, or having the same star sign or something like that, you know, that can start to get people to flip, and that's not healthy and it's not helpful because everyone's different, including you. Okay, so you've got Imam Koli with Nada, Origins, and Inner Child. This is like where it's coming from. I feel like that's really true. Love, relationships, that kind of thing is coming from the heart space, it's coming from your soul. And then we've got Aries, trailblazing, innovative, and fearless. Don't be afraid to let go of what was your past. Like your past, I guess the things you go through, there's like sayings with like things you go through make up who you are today, that kind of thing. We decide what that is too. Like this, we don't decide the things that happen to us all the time, but we do decide how we respond to them and how we integrate them and how we let them go today. This could take some time. I don't think this is something that's going to be quick and over in a second, but it doesn't have to be something that lasts 20 years. It could be something like that you work through in like a week or two or month or year, you know. Has to be honest and has to be correct for you. But this inner child, this inner like breath of light coming through, being able to live through that, that's more important than anything that's occurred. So I'm going to leave that there. Pile 2, this has been a really interesting reading. You are a rare success. Certain things are definitely rare, potentially for you to overcome. Potentially, you even have an opportunity to overcome something that has been a cycle in past lives, right? There's nothing overly here to refer to that, but the wheel kind of does, like, you know, a cycle. It's like you've gone through many cycles of like never forgiving a toxic relationship, let's say. And so it's like on and on and on and on. And so you keep experiencing toxic relationships, and then you've got to a point where like now this is the perfect time to like move on, be who you are, and not live through the past in the present, which is amazing. So a lot of progress here. So this is really good. This is a good reflection, something to think about. Take what resonates, leave what doesn't. If you have any questions, feel free. If you have anything you want to say in the chat for your own experience, please do. I read all the comments. Obviously, this is a smaller channel, so there's not a lot of like huge amount of like comments and stuff like that. But I'm always interested to hear, and I try to like add my own connections and stuff that's happening now. And I didn't even your reading really helped me think about some of the stuff that's been popping up from the past for myself as well. Because just like you, I'm not always, no one's perfect, but I'm not doing things perfectly all the time. My mind still has things that bring up, and I don't judge it. I take it as an opportunity to say why, how, and what do I do with it. Okay, lovely reading. Thank you so much, Pal2. Take care of yourself, and I'll see you next time. Welcome to your reading, Pal number 3. So you've chosen a very interesting one. You've got Angel Lahabiel and the Black Tourmaline with Purification. This is an angel that works closely, or I guess I don't know. They have like kind of an odd hierarchy in angel form. I don't think the angels really do have like this one's better than this one's higher than this. They just have individuals, right? It's kind of like a billionaire isn't better than like someone who's living on the street, right? They just have different resources to function in this reality, and I think that's how angels work. Anyway, I won't go too far down that rabbit hole. We've got Angel Lahabiel. Yeah, definitely some people invoke Lahabiel when things are challenging. So whether they feel like there's like a curse on them, or are seeing negative energy or feeling negativity. Might not be like an actual demon, let's say, or a bad spirit, but it could be just like pockets of energy that they're feeling from, they're picked up in reality, or they're rolling around in their head, right? So it's cleansing those kind of toxins, which makes a lot of sense with purification, right? I don't have any Black Tourmaline, but Black Tourmaline definitely is one for like absorbing. Black absorbs color, white kind of reflects it. So the black crystals are very good at absorbing and taking toxicities out. Okay, see how this relates to your reading. Remember, this is a reading of kind of like a review or a checkpoint, a save point in the video game of life mid-year. It's also the reason why I started to do this one, or based it off this kind of message, was because I saw that at the end of this month we are going into, well, Saturn's going into retrograde in Pisces, and retrogrades are usually the slowing down. So it's like that time to reflect on certain things, right? Sometimes our spirituality, especially with Pisces, and what is it? Saturn's kind of more practical and like very masculine energy. So it's an interesting like blend, but regardless, it's still true and it's something to work with, not against. So that's a little bit of the purpose why I have picked this message today. I do feel like there's a couple of different things. One thing is like whatever you're holding on to, if it's not helpful, to start to look at letting it go. And another part of it is looking back and seeing what you've let go over time. Like there's a lot of appreciation and pride that needs to be felt. You might think, yeah, but I haven't let all of it go. Letting one piece of toxic energy is better than not letting go of any. Be kind to yourself, especially with this kind of energy coming through. Okay. Well, saw Chiron, so I'm going to leave that there and flip it up. Chiron is the wounded core wounds, wounded healer, right? In traditional kind of like ideals. But core wounds, vulnerability, potential through pain. Yeah, especially if we're getting purification. I think that's why it leapt out. I think Chiron's actually in retrograde too, so it's like reflecting on what we've kind of like overcome. Is another way of looking at it. There's probably many ways you can look at these cards, but they do link up. Chiron, wounded healer, Lahabiel, a chieftain angel, I guess, of Archangel Raphael, which is like the healing type angel. So a lot of very synchronistic cards just with these first two cards. I should say a clear message. I love these animal cards. It's always funny when you get a deck which you were like, oh, I didn't really want, or like anything like that, and then it turns into one that you just like really love. It's not that I didn't want this deck, it was more like it was going to cost me $7 for shipping, or I pay an extra $8 and buy something worth $8 and I get free shipping. So this was on sale, this one, sorry, was on sale really cheap, and I was like, okay, I may as well add it in, right? Or I save $1 and just pay for shipping. But why, when you can get in more cards? The card hoarder in me coming out. Anywho, that's maybe why we need purification. Sometimes we hold on to too much stuff. We become emotions hoarders, or ideas hoarders, or whatever. Very protective. Even the, like a black candle can be very protective. So just getting that energy, protecting yourself while you go through shifts and change, but also review the shifts and change you've overcome, because those are something to be proud of. You've got gentle joy with good vibes, complementary colors. This is being so kind to yourself. You may have already gone through enough stuff early in this year. You may have already forgotten some of the things, or you may be still feeling it. This is not about judging, 100% no judgment. This gentle joy is like softness, being kind to yourself, not criticizing or judging others either, because that doesn't help. Judgment of any sort really doesn't help. Even in the tarot, I know there's a judgment card, but to me that feels like either feeling it or looking back and reflecting in the positive sense, like learning silver linings or comprehension of why certain things have happened, to what I've learned from that. Even if it's not like, oh, there was meaning behind, like this had to happen. It's more like looking back and being like, regardless, it did happen, right? It happened. What's happened has happened. You've got the Tokolache and the Sankofa. This is jealousy, past learnings. I mean, literally what we're talking about, and retrieval. The retrieval aspect is this, what is it called? Sankofa. So this is kind of like a little, I guess, being that really touches on like jealousy, on like anger and stuff like that. So it's like toxic emotions, I guess you could feel. And maybe that's where the purification has come through. But this Sankofa really talks about going back and getting what is yours. And if that's not a thing, it doesn't have to, actually, a thing shouldn't really matter, like certain item, unless it's really important. But if it's not an item, it's like getting back your peace of mind, getting back a part of you that's like more important than giving it, like letting it go with this person, or giving it to this like ex or whatever, whoever's holding on to it. This is getting your own peace of mind by releasing the need to have to hold on to it anymore. Purifying it. You've got the first self body presence. This is about you. This is about what makes you you, right? The first house is your ascendant. So this is about what's really, really, really important to you. That's where you should be kind and soft and not give your power away, especially while you're healing. Because if you don't want to sit in Chiron forever. You don't want to be the wounded healer forever. You want to heal. You don't want to keep opening that old wound over and over and over again because of this little guy. Poor little guy. But you don't want to do that for him. It's in the water, right? It's an opportunity to cleanse. So even something that's been kind of like forced to be the bad guy, that can you like, for you or even someone else, it's cleansing. Wash it away, purify it. So you've got the gecko with sensuality. I do like sensuality coming through, because it's feeling back into yourself, like instead of being a part of you being taken away and never be able to come back. It's like feeling that back into, feeling that fire or like that desirable energy within you. Now, desire doesn't have to be about just sex or anything like that. It's just really, you know, it could be about that, but it's also like about having feeling, getting life back into you, getting like what's really important back into you instead of what stories have been told or what stories have been lived. Because stories have been lived, you learn from them, but you don't hold on to it like it's still happening if it's not happening. Octopus with intelligence, yeah, you've learnt many different things. The intelligence can be a tough one too, because sometimes we can be really smart. We see these red flags very freaking clear. I can see that in my head of some stuff that I've done when I was like in my 20s, right? And it's like so obvious, and I knew it at the time, but I just actively chose to ignore it. You know, those kind of things. We can be super intelligent in certain ways and then ignore our own intuition, our own intelligence, our own eyes, almost our own eyeballs of what we're seeing or hearing. So yeah, interesting one. But you know, it's all lessons learnt as well. You grow from it. You learn from each experience. This looked good. You've got God Viracocha coming through with creation. My potential is infinite. Absolutely. This is getting back your power. See here, you've got even the gecko is kind of like in the same kind of upright position. Even though geckos aren't, you know, standing on their tails, but you know what I mean? Like it's up a wall. He's up in the clouds. They are where they're meant to be. They're kind of like, they're feeling what they're meant to feel. They're starting to like regain their power back to them. So this is a very similar message to another pile, but I don't know, it feels very personal. I don't know why, it just feels in like I think it's personal because we've got sensuality and we've got the first house and this jealousy kind of energy with its color shade. Well, here we go. You got a card number 33, Rosa Mystica. This is another name for Mother Mary or Lourdes, I think her name is. Can't remember. But Our Lady Lourdes. And we've also got I open my heart to abiding love. This is getting back into what's important in your life. No longer being like in victim consciousness. This is getting out of victim consciousness. That's very much the idea of retrograde in Saturn with Pisces, getting out of the victim consciousness. Okay, let's have a look at your tarot. So this one also came out another pile. You've got the King of Wands coming through. Really nice here. You have the High Priestess. She hasn't come out today, but she's been popping out a lot. One of my favorite characters. This is Scheherazade. Don't know Scheherazade. She is, I don't know, I guess it would have been the Persian Empire, so I'm not too sure where in the country, the world now, because it's changed from Persia, right? But probably Iran. Anyway, her story is, well, she has 1,000, I think it's like 1,001 nights or 101 nights, I can't remember. 1,001 nights, she started telling a story to the king, and he usually kills the wives or the woman the next day, but he kept telling her a story and then didn't finish it, and the next day would finish the story and then start a new one. And that way it kept her alive for so long that he stopped the like killing, I think because he was cheated on or something like that, so he decided to like chop off the heads of the next wives before they could do anything. You know, lovely person. But anyway, she kind of stayed alive to tell these stories, and that's where we get like stories like Aladdin, from this kind of folktale, fairy tale, or even if it was real, you know, whatever, regardless of what's like real or not, we still have these stories. And that's where the High Priestess is coming through. This is like a new chapter, a new story. You can start writing this new story, whatever it turns out to be. This can be more of an empowering time. The King of Wands, empowering, creative, individual. Viracocha, creation, creative, powerful. So this is very strong masculine energy. And it's getting into that in the most positive way, not in a, you know, chaotic way. Yeah, letting go. You've got, you know, this is the last card, and you've got purification here. Look at this black water. Oh, I know this story. This is the story of Sedna, I'm pretty sure. So it's an interesting one. Kind of tragic for Sedna. So she's like a goddess, and her okay, so what happened was her father sold her off. Like, this doesn't look very good for the patriarchy, but you know, this is just how it comes through. So she was sold off, into a tribe, or not tribe, but to a certain person. She was mistreated. Her father went over to get her back. The story is she was taken back, got onto a boat, and then there was like a storm or something like that, and I think she capsized or came off. She tried to get back on. She was going to tip the boat over, right? And so, well, that's what his fear was. So he chopped off her fingers with, looks like a little blade here, a little hand blade, and she sunk to the bottom. So she had like pretty rough time, right, of that. But what happened from this tragedy? While she's sinking, this is kind of like where the transformation occurs. It's kind of like she accepted that what has happened has happened. She wasn't living in fear or past or anything. She was like, kind of like accepted this as like what has happened. And so the story is her fingers and stuff turned into the, you know, dolphins, porpoises, all that kind of stuff, the sea creatures, the corals, I guess, the seaweed, you know, it turns into like some of the natural things that we see now in the oceans. So it's an interesting story, but it is kind of like a betrayal, right? And I guess that's where this Ten of Swords is coming through, of like letting go of something, end of challenging times, that kind of thing. So interesting one. I don't know the story, that's why I didn't go into it. I do need to read the book. I've only got this one in the last week. And it's funny because when I first saw this card, I was like, that looks like Scheherazade. Was Scheherazade. Looked at this one, haven't looked yet, but I'm pretty sure this is the first time Ten of Swords has come through. But I'm like, this looks like Sedna, has to be, and he also is wearing kind of like what I guess that would be known as like certain tribes, like Inuit tribes. Anyway, that's where this like religion or tradition comes from. Okay. All right, I was just checking if there was anything else that wanted to come through, but I guess to summarize, you know, this is a time to reflect, look back, what's important to you. You know, you're focusing on your body, you're healing, releasing. So whether you are actually physically healing, you know, take your time with that and learn and build back like the core of who you are, the heart of who you are, and bring that out, because that's so much more important from now moving forward than reliving the past. The story is better left told and learned from rather than repeated and repeated and repeated. This isn't a time of repetition, it's a time of reflection and letting go. Okay, I'm going to leave that there. Thank you so much for letting me read for you today. If you have any questions or want to share any stories, feel free to do so. Safe space, always has been, always will be. And thank you so much for letting me read for you. Take care, and I'll see you next time.